Hey, what's up guys? It's Cody with StillPhotographyAL.com. I'm going to give you guys 5 questions that you can ask your wedding photographer when you're looking for good wedding photography. So I'll just kind of get right into it. One of the first things you want to ask your wedding photographer is simply just to see their work. Now, us as photographers, we want to put out our best work in our portfolio, but sometimes that cannot exactly be an accurate representation of what you're going to get. So make sure you ask not only to see their portfolio, but ask to see sample images from an entire wedding. If a photographer isn't willing to show you sample images from a different wedding, show you what they kind of go through, how they kind of handle different low light situations, stuff like that, to me they're really not worth hiring. So definitely make sure you ask them to see their portfolio and to see sample images from an actual wedding. Another thing you want to ask your photographer is, do they shoot RAW? I've called a lot of wedding photographers and a lot of them have told me the same thing, which is pretty surprising, that they shoot all their weddings in JPEG. If your photographer doesn't shoot your wedding in RAW, I'm not saying that they're a bad photographer, but I'm saying that they should be knowledgeable enough and have, this skill set, and they should know that you need to be shooting weddings in RAW. So that's more of a personal side. If your photographer doesn't shoot your wedding in RAW, really to me they're not worth hiring. The third question you need to ask your photographer is, how do they handle lighting? What do they do when your wedding's low lit? How do they handle those kinds of situations? So you definitely want to ask them, are they knowledgeable in lighting? Are they knowledgeable in on-camera lighting and off-camera lighting? Will they be using off-camera lighting and on-camera lighting? So you definitely want to ask them that. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to ask them what kind of gear they use. And that being said, now do not base your photographer solely on the kind of gear they use. That absolutely drives me crazy when people do that. Like, a lot of people misinterpret that a higher megapixel camera is going to give you better images. And that's actually a false statement. There are cameras, it's all about the low light capability of your camera. A higher megapixel camera will not give you better images. But like I said, it's completely okay to ask them what kind of gear they use. Make sure that they're using, of course, decent gear. And more important than that, make sure they're knowledgeable about their gear. Another thing in wedding photography that you want to ask is, what kind of professional experience and background do they have in photography? I don't know if you guys recently read my article on hiring at Sue, but you guys need to definitely take a look at it. It just goes in a little bit of detail about hiring somebody that, maybe a family member or something like that, someone new to photography. Your wedding day is one of the most important days of your life, and you definitely want to put your images in the hands of a professional. So ask them what kind of experience they have in wedding photography and what kind of experience they have as a professional photographer. And now the last question that you want to ask when you're looking for a wedding photographer is, how do they edit their images? I know that a lot of photographers, what they tend to do is they pick out their favorites and they put it into a batch processing thing, and I absolutely hate that when they do that. You just definitely don't want, I think that wedding images deserve a lot more attention than just that. So you definitely don't want a wedding photographer that might say something like, oh, we just rate our images and we put them through a thing. We have a bunch of presets and it allows us to offer you, black and white images and color images, and that's great. But you really need to hire a wedding photographer that's going to take each individual image from your wedding and personally edit and make sure that that image is the best image that it could be. So there's a few quick tips on asking questions to your wedding photographer. So you guys make sure to comment below, or you can click, I think you can click read more or something like that. Or if you just want to contact us directly, you can contact us at stillphotographyal@gmail.com, or just go to our contact page. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.